So, welcome to another show, guys. Today we have Sanjib Nandi on, who is a pharmacist, an author, and the founder of a meditation app. So, welcome to today's show, Sanjib.
Thank you, Jeevan, for inviting me in your podcast. It's an honor and pleasure, and I hope I can give some information and tips and tools for your users.
Yeah, fantastic. I know that obviously you're a very educated person, and obviously you're an author and founder of the meditation app. So, I'm sure you've got something to bring to the table. So, why the app? Why meditation? What is it that you feel meditation brings to individuals? And why should people do it more?
So, Jeevan, I will give a little bit explanation, how I came to meditation, because I never thought or intended that I will do any kind of meditation in my life, because I came from India. And in the Eastern culture, meditation has been used to calm the restless mind. And my mind was pulled in, different directions. I was not able to have a positive state of mind. So in the beginning of 2017, I started doing meditation. And again, in the beginning, it was kind of, a roller coaster ride because I was around 37 or 38 years old by that time. It's hard for me to sit in, one quiet position and, concentrate on one single thought. So, when I started meditation, I used to take one breath in. Then, I was to think, okay, I'm not comfortable in this position. Then, the next breath out, I was thinking what I'm going to eat for lunch. Then the next breath in, I was thinking, okay, this is not helping me. My mind is still restless. But in spite of, that, I, kept the practice of meditation. And after 6 to 8 weeks of meditation, I was able to form a little, calmer and a little, peace inside me, which led me to, do more of the meditation. Um, you know, as the stress level was high, I used to overindulge in food because that was the outlet to release some of the stress. So I was not overeating, and from that point I started investing more time in meditation. Initially I started with 5 or 10 minutes, then gradually I improve it to 20 minutes and then 30 minutes, and at one point I was doing around 1 hour, and it was helping me a lot. So after that, I started to, dive deep into, what meditation is actually doing in my brain, because, something is happening which I was not aware of. So I tried to find the scientific reason. Okay, what is happening? Because there is definitely, some of the changes which is happening inside my brain. So, I wanted to get the scientific explanation. So I found out that Sarah Lazar, she's a neuroscientist at Harvard Medical School. And she was also skeptical about meditation, that, how 6 to 8 weeks of meditation is going to make her calmer, peaceful, and more compassionate. And she found out in her research that 8 weeks of meditation decreases the electrical activity in the amygdala. And what is this amygdala? Amygdala is an almond-shaped structure responsible for processing your emotions, or it is also called the fight or flight response. And when the electrical activity in the amygdala decreases, it's correlated to less fear, anxiety, and worry. And what was more astonishing, Jeevan, is that uh, it decreases the size and volume of amygdala in 8 weeks. So it means the person who is still living in the same environment is feeling less fearful and stressful. So that was kind of, very amazing. And, once I was able to find the scientific explanation, it led me to, indulge more in meditation. The second, best thing which I found out of meditation is, as you are aware, that our brain is divided into two hemispheres, left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. The person who are using their left brain are more analytical, logical, reasoning. They are often good at maths and science. And people who use their right side brain are more imaginative, intuitive. They are often better at arts and philosophy. Scientifically, it has proven that meditation balances the corpus callosum, the nerve bundle cross-linking the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. So what does it mean? That meditation is making you a whole brain. It means you can use your left side of the brain and the right side of the brain as effectively as possible. Because, usually what happens, either we can write with left hand or the right hand. Same thing with our brain. Either we can use the left side or the right side. Now imagine if you are able to use both sides of the brains. It increases, the advantage of whole brainers are it has better focus, excellent mental health, and clearer and deeper thinking. So, meditation is leading you towards a state of positivity, and you are becoming a better version of yourself because, that is the ultimate goal. We all human beings wanted to excel in our life. So these are the two scientific explanations. There is one more, the third one, which I will also explain, that, if just assume if a person is in a negative state of mind or he's depressed, the hippocampus, which is associated with learning and memory, shrinks significantly. And, the degree of shrinkage depends upon the numbers of years he's depressed. So what meditation does, it lifts you up from that negativity by, increases the thickness volume of the left hippocampus and the right hippocampus. So that, you can retain, a lot of the information, what we are learning and, go towards the positive side of the spectrum. So, once I was able to figure out, these benefits, and definitely, people are aware that, what are the other benefits which meditation gives, like, it increases different neurotransmitter in our brains, like dopamine, serotonins, endorphins, which are the happy chemicals, and, which definitely takes you towards a positive state of mind.
Yeah, no, I mean you've broken down so many different areas there, and what I tend to do on when I'm running these podcasts or even as a guest on other shows, I'm always making notes as we talk so that I can absorb all the information. I can sing. There's a lot there that you've sort of talked about that we could go into. I think first and foremost, meditation for me and prayer are the same thing. You're basically doing the same thing, but they have different connotations. It's like the word God can have negative connotations for some people, but source, universal, energy have positive connotations. And it's kind of strange how that works. The way that I think of meditation is clearing your mind. If you think of, and you've obviously alluded to it here as well, if you think of a post box or your email inbox, if it's full of letters, so if you think about the American post box, at the end of the drive, where it's like a little basket and you sort of open it there, if it's full of letters, there's no new letters that can come in. And it's a hassle to go through that letterbox and work out what's this letter for, what's this letter for. The same with your email inbox. And I think meditation helps you to clear that, to ensure that you're in a good space, as you said, to receive new insights, new information, and allow you to be less stressed. I mean, we all know that when you come home to a house that's messy, you feel stressed. As soon as you've cleared up the house or cleared up your working space, you feel more relaxed. And for me, meditation is along those lines, helping to clear yourself. And as you've said, there is scientific sort of backing to that. Again, another thing that you've mentioned is you wanted to eat more. I'm a strong believer that once you go down a bad path, and you said it was a period of 3 years, whether it's a positive trajectory or a negative trajectory, it's harder to change direction of something than to keep going in that same direction. And it's essentially the snowball effect. And when we go down a bad path, we then maybe look at the 7 deadly sins, whether it's gluttony or lust or sloth, as opposed to moving on that positive outlet. So now that you've started this meditation, now that you're on this positive trajectory, what are the outcomes for you then? So instead of eating and being gluttonous, what are the secondary benefits rather than, as you said, not feeling fearful, not feeling anger, not being resentment, and feeling more positive? What are the secondary benefits to that? Are you going to the gym more? Are you making more friends? Are you more productive at work? Have you got more insights? What are those secondary benefits for me, Sanjib?
Very good question, Jeevan. I just want to point out before I, answer this question that, like the role of meditation is to have, one single thought. That is, to stop the internal chatter so that you can, improve yourself. And, the one point you mentioned that, you do prayer. Again, prayer is a kind of meditation. Like my mom, she never meditated, but she used to do prayers. And again, any kind of prayer is a form of meditation. Because if you see that any house of, prayer, they vibrates at higher frequencies. So if you are going to, any temple or a mosque or a church, they have, very different level of energy. And you feel, different when you go there. The only problem is you're not able to go to those places as often, as you want. Because, when you come back, you again come to that, negative state of mind. So that's the reason, we have to definitely implement, some kind of, practice in our daily routine so we can vibrate at a higher frequency. All have fears. And fear is the number one reason which is stopping us from doing greater things in our life. I have fear too. So what meditation has done is it has made me a little bit resilient to this fear. And I'm able to, go out of my comfort zone. Previously, I used to do the things which I know that I'm comfortable doing it.
Yeah.
Now, in spite of knowing that, this is not my comfort zone, I'm still able to go ahead and try it.
Yeah.
It's a secondary thing, whether I, succeed or not, but, I'm not fearful.
Yeah. I think with the fear side, it's not a case of never having fear because everyone has fear. It's how you behave with the fear. Either you cower into a ball and let the fear overtake you, or you become courageous. And the word courage doesn't mean that you don't have fear. It means that you have fear when you act despite fear. Is that essentially what you're alluding to, that you have become more courageous since you've had the meditation or been doing meditation?
Yes, definitely. You have, phrased it right, that in spite of the fear, you try new things. And that's what, I started doing it. Because, if you see that, we all have one life. Why should I live my life in fear? I'm 45 years old. Maybe I'm going to live to 70 or 75. In spite of, living in fear and regretting later in my life that, I should have tried this. I tried different things in spite of, my weaknesses, in spite of not knowing what is the outcome. And meditation has opened me the door to try these things.
I think comfort zone is the killer because if you never got outside of your comfort zone, you'd still be living, or you'd still be sleeping in the cot in your mum's house. You would never have started to walk. You would never have gone to school and never made new friends and done all these sorts of things. So I think getting out your comfort zone is a real life hack for people. As soon as you start to feel too comfortable, it's time to try something new. And and that's important for us to develop as individuals. The other point I think you mentioned, which is spot on, is that your internal environment reflects your outer environment, or well, vice versa, essentially. So we need to be in a good state internally. The better we are, the more value we can bring, the better we see on an external. If we're in, let's say we're good, we're very attractive and we're in a good mind state, we then attract a better partner. If we're in a good mental state, people seem to gravitate towards us. And I love the point that you made about regret because we always regret what we don't do more than what we do and fail with. And the reason why that's the case is because at least when we fail and we know what we've done wrong, there's clarity. We know this is what happened, I did this, and this is the outcome. The problem with not acting and having that regret is that there's no clarity, there's no outcome. It's like, well, what if I did this and then this happened or this happened or this? And you go through hundreds of different outcomes in your head. And that the brain does not like that. The brain likes a closed circuit, knowing this is what I did and this is what happened. And that's why regret is really a bad thing. Just coming back to your gut feeling point, because we'll talk about that and then we'll move on to your book and your app, for example. What do you think this gut feeling is? Are you just an advocate of maybe it's down to us being back in the wild and being aware of what's going on? Or do you think it's being in line with source and picking up messages that we should be getting to help us to navigate the right path?
Definitely, we got messages from the source, because there is definitely, which is bigger than human beings. If you see spiritual wise, there is God and there is different entities, which some of the people believe it, they don't, some of the people don't believe it. But if you see life, definitely, we don't know all the answers. And as a human being, I try to find, what is the answers, because, it's hard for any human being to get all the answers. Okay, what is the source, whether there is God? But definitely I believe in God. And I definitely believe that, there is some external force which is helping you if you are making an effort to improve yourself. If I'm sitting in my couch and, expect my life to be better, it's not a possibility. And I have done it, from 2016 to 2013 to 16. I was just thinking that, my life will get better. And I was not taking any action. But when I started taking action, God opened me different doors, which was never a possibility. So I have to definitely say that, there is something external force, because we are not capable of doing all the things which, we think is possible. There is definitely something which is more powerful than any human being in this world.
100%. And I like the example of sitting on the couch, because this is the mistake I think many people make about God and source energy or whatever, manifestation, whatever you want to call it. It's like, well, I'm sitting on the couch and I'm believing these things, but you need to act in a way that's going to get you to that event as well. So you need to essentially reverse engineer where you need to be. And as you said, you'll be surprised about what helps you on the way. Maybe you aimed for this direction, but something happened along the way to say, actually, this is the direction you should be going and this is what you should be doing with your life. And, whether it's because manifestation, visualization, all of these sort of words are very hot in the ether at the moment, but it still, for me, just falls back to what has always been said in historic, religious, and philosophical texts. Make sure that you are a good person, you are being diligent, you are providing value to others, you are in a good state mentally, you are taking time to go back to source energy. And, as you said, there is now science that proves that. And this is the issue for me, is that it has to take science to prove something for a lot of people to believe something. And this is where the word faith comes in. Faith basically means, for me, you believe something without substantial scientific evidence to an extent. And that's a good way to live, because if you're always waiting for scientific evidence, you're always behind the curve, for me, because it's someone could have acted before.
It's hard to find, scientific explanation of everything, because, this universe is very complicated. We know a tiny speck of, what is there in this universe, because the Earth is just a small fragment, if you see that. So again, we don't know everything. And that's the reason, we have to believe that, there is something, which is definitely bigger than us, because, there are so many things which we cannot explain.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, in some ways we can explain things. So this is the example I love to use. So your mobile phone in your house, it's pretty clear that they are designed because they have functions. They well, clearly have a design. You know, they have a function. They have parts that are consistent with their function. As an example, if you were to say to someone, "Look, your house was made randomly," they'd say, "No, it wasn't. It's pretty obvious that it was built." But the same people will then say, "Actually, the universe is random." I was like, well, okay, well, what about all of the ecosystems? What about the how um, uh, um, atoms work and subatomic particles, etc.? And then us as humans, we have arms which have functions. We have eyes, limbs, and then we all fit within this thing called nature, where we all fit together. And some jobs are done by certain things, and some jobs are done by other things. The Earth goes around the sun, yeah, and these orbits are consistent. They're consistent. And this is what baffles me. That if it's so random, how can everything work so well together? Because random things generally have random behavior. They don't have fixed behavior. And this is where, I come in and say, actually, yeah, I mean, I was previously someone who didn't believe in God. And I now think, even from a logical and philosophical position, it has to be true because we are essentially self-replicating. You know, we have seeds within us that replicate the next thing, and it all works. And people say, "Oh, well, that's just genetics." I'm like, "Yeah, but genetics is it in itself a code? DNA, it's a code, and it all fits together in a specific way." Um, for you, do you think that meditation gets you closer to God then, and in what way?
Yes, definitely. Meditation helps you connect with yourself first. That is what you are doing. It. Once you are connected with yourself, then only you can connect with, any external source of God. Because, once you are disconnected with your energies, it's hard to connect with anybody else. So, that intuitiveness it gives you, and then only you can, think about, anything else. So that is very crucial for, connecting to any source of God.
Yeah, I mean, even if we take the meditation away from God and look at just human performance, it's been shown by many athletes that meditation, visualization, making like a highlight reel in your head of where things are, visualizing the perfect performance. I mean, there's a book by Lanny Bassett with winning in mind that essentially what he used to do, he's an archer and he used to sit there, close his eyes, and imagine the perfect archery, and he won the Olympics doing that because you can practice in the mind. You don't have to physically practice. And the mind is such a powerful thing. If you can use it in the right way, if you can think positively rather than negatively, if you can look at the positive in any situation, if you can believe strongly that you will be the best, you will act in a way that breeds that. So obviously you've used your mind to allow you to write a book, to become the founder of a meditation app. Do you just want to talk about those two things because they're obviously something that you're trying to provide to the world and provide value?
Yes, definitely. So I wrote my book in 2021, and it is called The Man with Zero Talent. And just to give you the misconception, people think that this is only for men. It has nothing to do with men. It's a book which helps you to come out from negativity to positivity. And once you're able to come out of positivity, you can become a better version of yourself. So I started the book with, how pain and suffering can engulf our life, how to overcome that, what are the tools and techniques you can use in your daily routine. Like, you can use meditation, you can, set a goal. Like, when I started my self-transformation journey in 2017, I set up a goal that I wanted to become a speaker. In spite of, my fears, in spite of, not having the experience. So, having a goal, doing meditation, again, meditation does help, but I don't say that, that is the only thing, which is going to, take you to a better version of yourself. You have to definitely implement other things in your life. Like, I started walking, which led me to run my first half marathon, which eventually led me to run my first full marathon. So, exercise again plays a very important role because, sometimes it becomes harder to, control the mind with the mind. But if we are using, exercise, you are changing your physiology. Once you are changing your physiology, you feel better. There was never once that I have done exercise and I never felt better. And, once you are feeling better, you will think clearly. And once your thinking becomes, clearer and deeper, you change your state of mind.
This is it. I think a lot of people always think about the feeling when they're doing something. Oh, it's going to be so hard when I'm at the gym. It's actually going to be annoying to go to the gym. But as you said, afterwards you feel great. So for me, a real good mentality shift is to not think about the feeling of pain or the issues that come from going to work or being in writing a report or writing a book. It's a feeling of afterwards. What's the carrot that you're chasing? And if you think in that way, you are more likely to undertake activities and actually improve yourself. And it's like you said about getting out of your comfort zone. I look at that as the same thing. You're currently in your comfort zone until you do that thing and you're sort of out your comfort zone in terms of uh, physical in that instance, but sometimes mental as well. So what about the app then? What sort of made you do that, and what can that do to help others, and what's the functionality of it?
So, I launched my app in 2022, which is an extension of my book. It is called Luvo Calming Guided Meditation. And any of your listeners can download it from Google Play Store or App Play Store, and it is completely free. There is no subscription fee. And we have implemented different sections in that app. We have one section which is meditation. We have used frequencies like vibrational frequencies. Like the app is going to release audio frequency from the range of 396 to 963 hertz, which is based on chakra meditation. And at the same time, the user can keep the phone in the palm of their hand and they can get a vibrational frequency of 100 to 200 hertz. And what we say that using vibrational frequency with audio frequency enhances your experience of meditation. And this has not been tried in any other app. This is the only app which has this feature. We do have a guided meditation at the same time. Then we do have high performance meditation, for athletes or students, who wanted to focus. We have, one section for that. Then the second part is exercise. The app is going to measure the number of steps you are taking, calories burned, distance travel, and it will give you a graphical representation, like, how many steps you take daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly. And if you want, you can connect your smartwatch like, Fitbit or Garmin or Apple Watch to the app so that you are syncing all the data from the watch to the app. And the third section we have is the water analysis. Like, we live in cold countries, like, especially US, where it's, 8 or 9 months is cold. So we don't drink enough water. And Jeevan, as you are aware that our body and our brain is made up of 60 to 70% of water. And if we are not supplementing or, hydrating ourselves with enough water, it can lead to anxiety or depression. So the app is going to remind you every, 2 or 3 hours to, take enough water so that you are not dehydrated. The fourth section we have is the sleep analysis. Like if you're not able to sleep, well, and even if it is one night, it can lead to, foggy brain and the mind. So the app is going to analyze your light sleep, deep sleep, REM sleep. And again, you can get all the data from your smartwatch at the same time. Then we do have gratitude because, gratitude plays a very important role to live a happy and healthy life. So the person can, select, what they are grateful for because, there are so many things we should be grateful for in our daily routine. And if you see that, 90% of the human being is grateful for, at least 80 to 90% of their life. They are not happy with, 10% of what is going around in them. And then what they do is they bog their head only for that 10%. So rather than seeing, that negative side, see the positive side which is good, or which is good happening in your life. You have a job, you have a house, you have clothes to wear, those are the things which we have to cultivate it. For me, I can say that, gratitude does not come naturally. And I believe that, it doesn't come naturally to any human being. We have to cultivate the habit. Okay. We have to see the good in our life. So gratitude is one of the section. Then, our main feature right now is live, meditation. We have live sessions going on for meditation. We have live yoga classes. We have sessions for healthy eating. Because again, what you put inside your mouth definitely plays a role, how your mind is functioning. Because if you're eating, junk food like pizza, soda, your body will be, lazy or lethargic, and your mind is going to, act in the same way. So, we have a section for healthy eating, then we have gratitude, we have meditation, music. These are all live sessions which happens, once or twice a day. And then we have a section for blog, to give information and knowledge, because, knowledge is power. Because people, if they are able to understand why they are doing, meditation, what are the benefits, how it is helping them, what are the benefits of cold shower, then it becomes easier. Because if I say do meditation to you, people say, why should I do it? Because, sitting in cross-leg position, thinking of one thought, it becomes harder. But if I tell these are the advantages which you're going to see in 6 or 8 weeks, and you cannot, measure the benefits of meditation because it's so intangible. But, once you know that these are the benefits, it makes it much more easier.
Yeah, so it sounds like you've got like a one-stop shop then for all of the different areas, and I like the vibrational stuff, because I know even Nikola Tesla says the 369 and vortex mathematics is the key to the universe. I don't know if you know this as well, Sanjib, that I don't know the year, but they changed the normal recording frequency of pop music from 432 hertz, which is, seen as for many to be the ultimate frequency, to 440 hertz. A very small change that may or may not be some of the reasons that people are less spiritual today, and that maybe there are issues with violence, etc. Maybe that was a strong, and because for me, the question would be, why change it? If it had always been 432, why would you change to 440, especially with the connotations of 432? It's almost like they want us to be, they being the government, etc., want us to be weaker individuals to make us easier to control. That would be my thought process. But I wonder what your thoughts are on the vibrational stuff. For example, I know that there's a 369, there's what was the other one? There's one is 500 range, one in the 900 range that seem to be like extremely beneficial to you. Do you know of anyone specifically that is meant to be the best, or do they have different sort of benefits, if you like? And just before I mention that, I don't know if you saw something go around on Instagram recently where they put rice on a table and they have a speaker there with different frequencies, and the rice makes different shapes, like real sort of artistic shapes, and it just shows that that sound does hold a picture or a message.
Yes. So I haven't seen the video which you're talking about, but I can, talk about vibrational frequencies. Like, I think it was David Hawkins, who measured energy in the form of frequencies. So if a person is vibrating from 0 hertz to 200 hertz, he's in a negative state of mind. It can be, anger, it can be jealousy, it can be sadness. But if you are vibrating at a frequency of 400 or up, it means, you are vibrating in a frequency of joy, happiness, and enlightenment. So what is the role of us? Everything is vibrating. As you mentioned that, there is a speaker and, that rice was moving because every object in this planet has a vibrational frequency. We don't know about it, but it has a frequency. So, how we can vibrate in a higher frequency, that is the key thing which we wanted to talk about, because when we are vibrating in a lower frequency, we will attract the same things in our life. If I'm, in an anger state, I'm going to, attract only those things. So for me to, achieve something or change something remarkable, I have to start vibrating at a higher frequency. So that, how you can do it through meditation. Like we have used chakra meditation. So they have 7 levels. So from root chakra to the crown chakra. So the root chakra is the lowest one, which is 396 hertz, which is based at, the spine or the navel region.
Is that 369 or 396?
396. 396. And, when you are vibrating and when you are in that level, you are kind of not well protected. You are struggling for food, clothes, and shelter. So you are at the lowest level. And, you have to slowly rise to the crown level. So, 396 is the first one. Then it goes to, 426 or something. 439, I think, is the next one. And you are talking about, changing from 432 to 440. That might be the reason. And, it slowly goes upper from that. And the highest one is the crown chakra, which is 963 hertz, which is a kind of state of enlightenment. So, the role of every human being is how can we open these chakras, which are the energy centers? Because if our energy centers are blocked, then we are not able to vibrate at higher frequencies. And most of the human being, if you see that they are just vibrating at the lower 3 levels. It's very few people who are able to open their third eye or the crown chakra or the throat chakra. Some of the people who are meditating, they are able to open their heart chakra. Because if you are able to open your heart chakra, it means you are having the loving and kindness towards you and to other human beings. And if you are able to reach that point also, that is something which is remarkable.
To sort of finalize, really, what are the key points that you want people to remember from today? What key message do you want to give out, and where can people reach you?
So the key message which I wanted to leave to any users is, keep or start working on yourself. It can be your physical or mental health, it can be your goals or dreams, or it can be, to improve your communication skills or your writing skills. And, pick a goal, however small it is, and start working it from today rather than, thinking that, you will start at one fine day, when all the, traffic lights will align and, when all the stars will align for you. And in spite of, having the weakness, have the courage to pursue it. It's not about, accomplish something. It's about, trying to do different things and, making yourself a resilient of, fear or any kind of stress in your life. And people, if they wanted to reach me, they can reach in my Facebook page, The Man with Zero Talent. I have a YouTube channel, which is called Luvo Productions. People can download the app free of cost in Google Play Store or App Play Store, which is called Luvo. And if they are downloading the free app, they can get the link of the book at the same time, which is again free of cost. People can find us in our website www.zesttolive.com. So these are the platforms that they can reach me.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much again, Sanjib, for being on the show. Provided loads of good value, and it's actually making me feel like I need to meditate this evening, because I do try and meditate as much as possible. Listen to actually frequencies and real positive, like classical style music, to put me in a good mind state. But I feel like I actually need to do this after the call. So thanks for the inspiration.